Okay. Can we start, Samarth?
Yes, Shivani, start.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to IDC's weekly career class. I'm Shivani, a study abroad coach with iDream. Today, we have picked up a very trending topic, which is higher education in South Korea. Now, I have so many students these days asking for information on education in South Korea. What universities are good, what programs are available, whether it is cost effective or not. Is it a good destination for international students, especially for Indian students? So we have gathered all this information on South Korean education to give you more clarity on this. The first thing that generally comes to our mind when we talk about this is, why South Korea, or why are we choosing South Korean universities? So South Korea is not only a destination of tourism and travel, but also technology and higher education now. And the capital, Seoul, has emerged as one of the top 10 cities for students as per QS rankings, which is pretty great. A lot of Chinese students until 2017 were comprised of the international students which were studying in South Korea. But now more and more students from other countries, including India, are setting their sights on Korean universities. According to the latest data, which is available on the Indian Foreign Ministry's website, more than 1,300 students are now studying at South Korean universities, and this number is bound to increase in the coming years. So, what are the advantages as an international student? When you're choosing South Korea as your destination of higher education, one, it's got great quality of education, and the universities are really highly ranked. So if you look at universities like Seoul National University, or KAIST, or Yonsei, or Postech, Korea University, they are one of the top ranking universities, 100 top ranking universities worldwide. And they enjoy this worldwide reputation because they've got great infrastructure, they've got great quality of teaching. They've also got diverse academic profiles. So if you're a student who's looking at engineering, or a student who's looking at fields like economics or technology or management or finance, fashion, social sciences, everything is available in Korean universities. It is definitely a hub of innovation and technology. Now we know South Korea is a leading country which produces mobile phones, chemicals, machinery, displays, electronics, and even ships for that matter. So with this technological and innovation going on in the country, it's really progressed from one of the poorest countries in the world to one of the most prosperous countries in the last few decades. So you could definitely consider South Korean universities for education then. South Korea is a very affordable, country to study in. If you look at their fee structure, it's quite affordable as per, Indian students. Rather than, if you look at countries like USA or UK or any other Western countries for that matter, if you compare the quality of education and compare the costs, South Korea is definitely going to be very, very affordable. In terms of living costs, in terms of accommodation, food, it is quite a pocket-friendly environment for students. Another reason for picking up South Korea is the availability of scholarships for meritorious students. Now please remember, the key word here is meritorious. There are a number of scholarships which are being offered not only by universities but also the South Korean government. So if you're an international student and if your academics are great, then you must apply for these scholarships. There are about 100 and more than 170 scholarships which are available for international students as of now. There's definitely an opportunity to learn new language and culture. Now, I know all of us sort of swoon over K-dramas and K-pop, so it's a new culture altogether, and a lot of students are very fascinated by that. You can definitely learn a new language, which is Korean. You also need to take, a proficiency test in Korean if you want to study in Korea, because there are a lot of programs which are offered only in the Korean language. So you may want to consider that. Then there is the high quality of life. The it's an excellent place to study. It's an excellent place to live, to work. South Koreans are very hardworking. Their living conditions are really good. Their per capita income is very good. There is steady economic growth in the country. Healthcare and insurance is free for all. There is A-class education and, of course, technology. So this is definitely a country that you can explore for your future education and even, for work conditions. So how do you apply to a South Korean university? Now, South Korea does not have a very common system of application. Every university, every college that you want to apply to will have a different criteria and will have a different application that you will need to fill. So you need to start creating a list of universities that you want to study in, right? Then you need to check the admission requirements for each university because they will differ from place to place. You need to start preparing the documents required for application, which is the most important part. So if you've got your documents ready for your study visa and for the university application, more than half of your work is done. Then you need to submit your application and pay the fee online. Now, a lot of universities also give you the option of submitting the application form offline. Okay. Some of them will give you the option of downloading the application form, filling it by hand, and sending it by post. Some may want you to fill out an application form online and then pay the fee online and then take a printout of it and send all the required documents by post as well. So you need to check the requirements of the university very, very carefully. So what documents will you need when you're applying for a Korean university? So one, of course, the online application or the offline application, depending on the university you choose. Then your statement of purpose. Now, whether you're applying for an undergrad program or you're applying for a postgraduate program, you will need to have a statement of purpose explaining why you need to study in South Korea or why you're choosing engineering or medicine or sciences or whatever program it is that you're applying for. Letters of recommendation, very, very important part of your application. So depending again on the program that you choose and the university that you choose, 2 to 3 letters of recommendation may be required. 2 academic letters of recommendation, 1 counselor recommendation for undergraduate program. 1 or 2 academic letters of recommendation and 1 letter of recommendation from your employer if you're a working professional or applying for a postgraduate program. So all of these things need to be again prepared. The last academic certificates that you've obtained. So basically your transcripts, your school transcripts, which has got all your grades, or your college transcripts or your university transcripts, which has got your grades from all years. A copy of the passport or proof of identity. I think that's required for all countries. Certificate of proof of proficiency in the Korean language or English language. Samarth, am I still live?
Yeah, you're live. You're there.
Okay, I'm so sorry. There was a network issue. Just hold on a second, please. Right. So I'm so sorry for that. There was a network issue at my end. So as I was explaining, if you're applying for a program in the English language, then you need to submit your IELTS or TOEFL score. And if you're applying for a program that is offered in Korean, then you need to apply with your TOPIK scores. Okay. And IELTS and TOEFL will anyway be required because you are an international student. So you need to demonstrate your proficiency in English. Now, there are universities which will offer you, programs in Korean as well. So even if you're applying for a program in English, you are going to be staying in that country, you are going to be interacting with Korean people, and even looking for part-time jobs, and we even work sometimes after you complete your education. So universities will encourage you to complete at least some levels in Korean and give the TOEIC examination so that you're eligible to stay there and work there. Then, of course, your standardized test scores. Korean universities accept SATs, they accept AB, your AP scores, your IB scores, GI, GMAT, everything is accepted, so need not worry about that. In fact, it may even be a requirement in certain universities for some programs. If you're applying for creative courses like music, design, drama, architecture, then portfolio will certainly be required, which is required in many universities worldwide. So it's not that different. And online interviews may be conducted for some programs. So if you're applying for a very specialized program like business management or engineering, looking at your scores, they may invite you for an online interview as well. Now, of course, all of these documents will be required, but what you need to remember is that you're applying to an Asian country, and us Asians love our grades. We love academics, right? So you need to have a high score, a high grade to get accepted into these, universities, because they're very highly ranked and very, very competitive. So you must know that Korean students and Chinese students are very smart. They've got very good grades, so you are technically competing with them, right? Okay, so moving on. So when do you start your application to these universities? So once you've, thought of applying to a Korean university and go to South Korea, so when do you really start applying? When do you start, submitting your documents? Now, Korean universities, South Korean universities have got two intakes, all right? Spring, which starts in February, March, and then you have got the fall intake, which starts in September. Now, the September intake is not the main intake, okay? The spring intake is their main intake, which starts in February, March. However, there are some universities that do offer the September intake also. So, depending on your availability and depending on when you finish your education, you can apply to Korean universities. Now, there are some universities that also offer admission on rolling basis. That means they accept admissions all round the year. So that is again really good for students who suddenly have plans to go to South Korea or suddenly have plans to go and do an education overseas. So for the spring intake, which starts in February, March, you need to submit your application starting August to November. So if you're going for March 2023 or February 2023 intake, you intend to start your education now, you should have submitted your documents in the previous year, which is, October, November, December. Now I'm talking about these 3-4 months, but some universities also start their applications a little early. So if you look at Seoul University, they start their applications in July, which is quite early. It's almost a year prior. So you need to have all your documents ready by then. For the fall intake, which is September, 2023 or September 2024, applications need to be submitted in May and June. So if you're applying for September 2023, then you need to submit your application by May 2023, June 2023. All right. Now, every university, like I said, there is no common app, no UCAS. There is no one standardized form of admission or application for all universities. You need to check every university very carefully for their deadlines for their UG and PG programs, which needs to be carefully followed because Korean universities are very strict with their deadlines. Now, which universities can you pick? Again, you've got plenty of universities to choose from. There are three, amazing universities in South Korea. One is Seoul National University, Yonsei University, and the third is Korea University. All three of them are called Sky Universities. They are the top three universities in the country, and they offer programs in social sciences, medicine, engineering, and a lot of programs are actually offered in English as well. The main intake, like I told you, is spring, and international students need to apply 1 year prior. So you need to have all those documents ready, and the window for application sometimes is just 1 week. So you need to make sure that everything is ready beforehand and you're just sending an application online, right? If you think this is too much, you can always take help from a counselor or a professional, and we can also help you with that, so don't worry. So then you've got Seoul National University, you've got KAIST, which is again a really wonderful university. It's the number one university in Korea, fourth in QS World rankings also. Now I know we've heard about Harvard, Stanford. We hear about universities in UK and Canada, but we don't really hear about these universities making the list also because they are not advertised or marketed like that. Then you've got the Pohang University of Science and Technology, which has got amazing research programs in physics, chemistry, maths, and technology. Yonsei University, which again has programs not just in medicine and technology and engineering, but also in music, economics, law, business, etc. Then you've got Korea University, which I told you again is one of the top three universities. In fact, one of the oldest and the most prestigious universities in South Korea. And it offers courses in humanities, languages, biotechnology, music, IT, education, economics, and many, many more courses. There are some other universities also that you could apply to. I've of course listed only the top few universities, but if you're a student and you're looking at some programs which you may not find in these universities, we can always help you find more universities and more programs. So how do you secure a scholarship? Now, this is a question that I get over and over again, especially for South Korean universities and colleges. The best part about studying in Korea is that the cost of living is not very high. The tuition fee is not very high if you compare it with the West. However, they also offer a lot of scholarships to meritorious students. And like I said, meritorious is the keyword here. Now, Korean universities and in fact, the Korean government also offers a lot of scholarships to students. So as you can see, I've listed out a few scholarships here. Now, if you want to be considered for a university scholarship, you need to have your academics right. You need to have your profile right. Your letters of recommendation should be good. So basically, they're evaluating your profile in a very, very holistic way, which a lot of universities and colleges have started doing, taking inspiration from the West. But if you want to apply to a Korean government scholarship scheme, then you need to apply through the Ministry of Human Resource Development. There is a portal called the Sakshat portal there. You can go and you can choose Korean university scholarships and you can apply. If your academics, like I said, are great, if your profile is great, then the government nominates you for a scholarship from the Korean government. The Indian government nominates you. So that is how you secure a scholarship there. Let's talk about the tuition fee and the cost of living. Now, like I told you, Korean universities are, the tuition fee is quite affordable. In fact, maybe more affordable than some Indian colleges also. So if you look at the undergraduate courses, let me just remove this. So the undergraduate course can cost you anywhere between 1.5 to 8 lakhs for a year. And postgraduate programs can cost anywhere between 90,000 to 8 lakhs again. Living expenses, I think, can vary depending upon the city. Of course, if you're in a city like Seoul, it's going to cost you more because that's completely a metropolitan place. If you're in a smaller place, then that will cost you less. Your accommodation type, whether you're staying on university premises or you're staying outside privately, what kind of accommodation you opt for, whether it is single sharing or double sharing or triple sharing, that it depends on that as well. Whether you're going to be traveling a lot. All of this combined can cost you between 2 to 5 lakhs. Now, students basically who hold the D2 visa and the D4 visa, which is the language trainee visa, are allowed to work part-time. So you can work for undergraduate students, you can work for up to 20 hours a week. And you also need to check this with your university. And for postgraduate students, it is about 30 hours a week with weekends off for both categories. Now, if you need this permit to work part-time, you need to go to the immigration office in Korea to get this permit. All right. So it's not a very, very tough process to follow. You can always check with your university, their requirement, fill out a form, go to the immigration office and get this sorted, right? Then we've got visa requirements. Now, once you have got an admit from the university, you need to start prepping for your visa also. So what is it that is required for visa? Your certificate of admission, which is issued by the college or university that you're going to be attending, which includes decisions on scholastic and financial ability also. Maybe you've got a scholarship, maybe you haven't received a scholarship. So all of that will be mentioned on the letter. Certificate of the last school or college that you've attended. So if you've passed out from grade 12 or you completed your bachelor's, you completed your master's and applying for a PhD program. So you need to have the copy of the mark sheet and passing certificate or the degree, whatever documents you have. Then you need to have your documents disclosing finances. So evidence of your bank balance, or if you have a financial guarantor, which is held for at least 1 month, local transfers, currency certificates. So you need to have a certain amount of money, which shows to the government that you have the least amount of money to cover your costs for at least the first month in the country, even if you are on a scholarship, which is not a lot. In the case of research scholars, so if you're going for a PhD program or you're going for a master's program which is completely research based, you need to have documents which prove your research ability. So you may have to show that you've published certain papers, you may need to show if you've written a thesis, and or you're working on certain documents already, you need to prove your research activity. So all of this is required, and this is it from my side. I'm sure after this information, overload of information, you may have a lot of questions in your mind. So I would love to take questions from all of you about study in South Korean universities, if you have any. Samath, do we have any questions?
Yes, Shivani. So we have one question. Can I apply to
Yes.
2 or more universities for further preparation?
Can you apply to?
2 or more universities for further
Yeah.
preparation.
Which preparation?
So that's not clear. If
Okay.
you could,
So yeah, if you could elaborate on your question, you can apply to 2, 3, 4, 5, how whichever amount you want. Okay, whichever universities are offering the course of your choice, wherever you meet the eligibility criteria and the academic requirements, please apply to those universities. And we've always said this: do not apply to just 2, 3 universities. Apply to at least 4, 5. Right? Apply to some universities which are aspirational. Apply to some universities which are sort of realistic for you, and apply to some safety nets also. In fact, whenever you're applying for universities outside the country, do have 1 or 2 options in backup options in India as well. That never hurts. So yeah, you can certainly apply to multiple colleges.
all right, thanks, Shivani. So if you have any more queries, if you have any queries from anyone, so please, now is the time. Ms. Shivani is here to address them.
So let me just yeah. So I just want to add something else. South Korea is now emerging as a destination of higher education. It is now that I've observed that a lot of students have started asking questions about South Korea or wanting to go to South Korea. What you need to remember is that it's a great country. Now that they have started getting international students, they might come up with a system of application which is centralized, but as of now they don't. So if you look at universities, they have very very different timelines from each other also. In fact, it is quite like Indian universities also. So for example, Christ has a completely different timeline. Mumbai University and Delhi University have different timelines. Some private colleges have different timelines. So it is a little like that. So for a student who's in grade 11th or 12th, or even somebody who is not familiar with the system of education, it could be quite confusing. All right, so it is always better to plan these things at least a year beforehand and take help from a professional to understand what universities, what programs you qualify for, and prepare your documents much in advance, right? And apply in advance also. So don't apply at the last date. So if the window is July 2nd to July 8th, do not apply on July 8th only, please, because I mean, it's always good to apply a little early to any university, any college, or any program that you want. Right? That's just my bit. So, Samant, do we have any more questions? Samarth, am I audible?
Yeah, you're there. So no, we do not have any other questions.
Okay.
All right, so then we'll end today's session and we'll see you next week for another weekly career class. And if
Wonderful.
there are any career related queries you have, which you would like us to address in the form of a one-on-one counseling session, you can always reach out to us, iDreamCareer website. I'll just share our contact details with you all on the chat. So here you go. All right. So thank you, Shivani, for that session. It was a very nice session, and we
Thank you so
look
much.
forward to more such sessions. Okay.